If someone gave you a gift of a classic car that had a stick shift, would you learn how to drive a stick? Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and we inspire. And you have been the recipient of just such a gift. Only, of course, it's not a stick shift. It is the ability to be creative. That's something that I have spoken about numerous times from this pulpit, and I was able to access a TED Talk called The Hidden Path to Creativity by Stephen Schwartz. And essentially, it says exactly the same things that I've been saying, only with a couple of different nuances. And one of the things as a mentor that you have to realize is that different people are able to understand things from different perspectives, so that when, just like in school, you might have had one teacher teach you one way and you didn't get it, and then another teacher would teach you the same exact subject a different way, and you went, aha, now I get it. So that's why I want to bring to you Stephen Schwartz's information about creativity. And he starts off by saying that he went and did some tremendous studying on people that are super creative, read their autobiographies to find out how did they get there. And he was surprised to find that they all got there exactly the same way. So how about if we share that and help you to become more creative? First of all, it's a 6-step process. The first step is you must become a master of the craft that you're working in. And I'm going to give you the why and because on that. One of the things that you will see when we go through these 6 steps is that you're going to get some help in terms of your creativity. And it's going to come from your subconscious. Now, your subconscious can only know things that you at one time either learned or experienced. It can be buried way back, way down on the, the bottom floor in the cellar, and the infinite mind will help you bring it up. But the point is, if you don't have that information, then you're not able to access it. It's kind of like a computer. If the information is not in the computer, you can't get it. What the subconscious mind does is it's able to bring the relevant information to the forefront and put things together for you. So you have to be a master in your activity that you're pursuing in order to be successful with it. So that's step 1. So what you want to do is get specialized knowledge in the arena where you are looking to make advances. Number 2, you must have a deep conviction that there is a solution to whatever it is you're working on, and that you can get to that solution. There's got to be an emotional entanglement where you're attached to this particular thing. You see it, you feel it, you taste it, you touch it, you can feel it, you can see it happening. You just haven't reached put all of the pieces together yet, but you know you can do it. So you have to have that confidence. You have to have a conviction. You have to have an emotional connection. You must have an emotional connection. Number 3, you must be willing to surrender all of your preconceptions and biases about how whatever it is you're doing works. This is a key step. And Mr. Schwartz gives a couple of examples I'm going to give to you here. He talks about Herbert Edwin Land. He's the inventor of the Polaroid process. You remember Polaroid cameras, right? He looked back on all of the hundreds of engineers that he had employed in the Polaroid Corporation over the several decades, trying to figure out, is there something that I can identify in a person that's going to be particularly creative, make that person a particularly creative person? He finally realized that the key to it was, and I'm quoting here, I now know is that I need to search for is engineers who are competent at their craft, but who have the capacity to surrender the way they think in the past so that they look with fresh eyes at old data. And when they can't do that, then the creativity occurs. So you have to surrender all of your preconceptions. Let me explain this the way I like to explain it. When you want to partner with the infinite mind to help you with creative ideas, one of the things that is a deterrent is if you've tried to accomplish a particular goal, and of course you have, or you wouldn't be emotionally tied to it. If you've tried to get a particular outcome and you have not been successful, you've got to come to the conclusion that this isn't the right way to do it. And when you're communicating with the infinite mind, if you put in your communication the things that you've done and failed, the infinite mind will incorporate those things into the solution. Well, you already know those things aren't going to work. So what is it you have to do? You have to put those things aside and only see the final outcome. And then the infinite mind will be in a position to actually help you with new ideas. So you've got to be able to see things with, as he says, with fresh eyes. And fresh eyes means not seeing things that you've done in the past that have not worked, but focusing only on the final outcome. Number 4, you must have some technique of inward lookingness. There are a lot of ways of doing that. Meditation is one that is particularly beneficial, but there are all sorts of ways to do that. Einstein said that he saw relativity after an illness. He was spending the afternoon just lazing around in a canoe and looked, and suddenly he said, I saw how relativity worked. The French mathematician Poincaré said he was walking across the street having labored to solve a mathematical conundrum, and suddenly he saw it. It came in an instant, the answer to his problem. René Descartes had it on the 10th of November. He had 3 dreams. He was in the city of Ulm, U-L-M, and he'd been struggling with what became an analytical geometry, the bridge between algebra and geometry, which is a little over my head. All right, he went to bed, he climbed up, it was very cold, he had 3 dreams. He describes these dreams in great detail. Out of these 3 dreams, I'm quoting him here, I saw a wondrous science, but it took him 18 years to figure out how to express it for other people. So what's the point here? All right, these 3 gentlemen, what they're showing you is you need to put yourself in a relaxed, concentrated state. It sounds kind of like an oxymoron, but Einstein, you know, he used to play the violin. That was one of the things he would do. And when you're doing that and you're relaxed, it enables the infinite mind to communicate with you more effectively. We've all experienced the scenario where you're trying to think of a particular person's name, let's say, and you can't think of it, and then all of a sudden you're driving along, or you're watching, you know, your kids play ball or something, and you're in kind of a relaxed, focused state, and boom, the answer comes to you out of nowhere. So the point is, what is necessary to be the most effective as far as opening that communication with the infinite mind and getting the help from, you know, the infinite partner, is you want to be relaxed. That is the best way to receive transmissions. All right. Number 5. So then we come to the aha moment. Now this is typically described as a period of 10 to 20 seconds. It's described as a timeless time, a spaceless space. It's kind of a connection with something that is greater than oneself. Researchers are now calling this non-local consciousness. Consciousness that is not physiologically based. This is the part of us that we seem to be looking at when we look at near-death studies. This is the part that seems to play a big role in creativity. Thomas Kuhn, probably the leading philosopher and historian of science in the 20th century, talks about this experience, and he says that the scientists that he talked to speak of the scales falling from their eyes. Suddenly, having clarity about something that previously they could not see because they had, and this is the key to the whole business, the ability to hold intentioned, focused awareness. And they had the ability to attain it and to sustain it. That's what meditation is doing. It's what, in Leonardo da Vinci's case, he would sit on the edge of a little stream and look down at the shallow water as it played over the rocks and stare at this and allow it to mesmerize him. Nikola Tesla says that the electric motor, he was walking across the park and suddenly what had been unclear became clear. They were able to do this because they developed some technique for holding intentioned focus awareness, which allows you to let that small voice emerge into your conscious mind so that you can see it and act upon it. So once again, we're talking about, once you've given that vibe to the universe, you see the end result, you see the outcome, that in order to get the feedback, to get the information that you need, you have to be in a relaxed state, intentioned focus awareness. And the point is that, just as an example, Eli, if you wanted to dance with somebody, you probably wouldn't go to a sports bar. There aren't going to be a lot of people there ready to dance. You'd probably go someplace where they have dancing. So you want to put yourself in the position where you're going to be able to achieve the end result that you're seeking. And to do that, the best way is to set aside some time every single day that you dedicate to intention, focus, awareness. I call that quiet thinking time. It allows you to be relaxed, it allows you to be focused, it allows you to be uninterrupted, and it allows you to receive input transmissions from the infinite mind. And the other thing that you want to remember is that these things, just as the gentleman that it took 18 years for him to figure it out, the geometry, sometimes your information comes to you in bits and pieces. As a matter of fact, most of the time it comes to you in bits and pieces. It comes like a big, giant crossword puzzle. So what you have to do is you have to store those pieces. And once again, it's not a very long period of time. You get a small period of time, maybe a minute, maybe a half a minute, you get the idea. But if you don't capture that particular thought, all right, if you don't capture that particular thought, then what can happen is it can go off into the ether, never to be found again. So one of the things that you want to do is put yourself in position in a relaxed state that you dedicate time to every day to just maximize the number of dance partners that you can have. And you also, understanding that, want to be in a position where you're able to capture those bits of information. They don't always make sense, but you need to capture them and remember that they are puzzle pieces. And you'll know this, you'll get that feeling in your gut. You say, why am I getting this feeling? Why am I getting this idea? Don't question it. Write it down. Save it for a later date. It'll make sense later. And number 6, the final part, is that you must be able to explain what you've experienced to other people and replicate it. You've got to be able to help other people so that they can do what you did. And I'm not talking so much about the method, the 6 steps. What I'm talking about is once you get your idea, once you get your solution, you have to be in a position where you can explain it to somebody that's not as educated, let's say, as you are, that's not as much of an expert as you are. So that's the final piece of the puzzle. And these 6 steps are not a function of intelligence. It's a process that nature has given to us, the human species. So just as you have the capability of learning how to drive a stick shift, you also have the capability of being creative. It's not something where you have to have super intelligence. You do have to have mastery of a particular subject, but you don't have to have super intelligence, and we all have that capability. So get the specialized knowledge that you need, follow these 6 steps, and you will be a more creative person. These are the same things that I've been saying, just with a couple of different nuances. I've given a couple of different explanations to them, some of them in terms of the why and because, but understand it's a great partnership with you and the infinite mind, and these 6 steps will put you in a position to lock arms with the infinite partner. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's all get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.